We once called it our sister planet, a shining jewel in the night sky that looked like a perfect twin to our own home world. From a distance, it appears as a magnificent twin, sharing a similar size and mass, promising a world that might harbor life and oceans. In the early days of space exploration, scientists imagined Venus as a tropical paradise, a world of vast oceans and humid prehistoric jungle landscapes. Humans dreamed of finding a second Earth, hidden beneath a mysterious veil of clouds that kept its secrets locked away from our curious eyes. But the reality is far more terrifying. As we descend through the thick atmosphere, the beautiful illusion begins to shatter into a violent nightmare. Behind that elegant veil lies the most hostile environment in the solar system, a place where no life as we know it can ever survive. Welcome to the hottest point in our solar neighborhood, a world that took a path toward destruction while Earth flourished in perfect balance. This is the story of how a sister became a monster, and why Venus remains humanity's greatest planetary warning and most dangerous challenge. To understand Venus, we must first look deep into our own oceans, nearly 900 meters beneath the surface where the pressure is lethal. At this depth, the weight of the water above is staggering, exerting a force that would easily collapse a standard deep-sea exploration vessel. Remarkably, the air on the surface of Venus is just as heavy. Walking on its ground is like standing at the bottom of an ocean. The atmospheric pressure is 92 times that of Earth, enough to crush a heavy armored vehicle into a mangled heap of scrap metal. With 96% carbon dioxide, the atmosphere becomes a supercritical fluid, a strange state of matter that behaves like a thick, heavy gas. The air is so dense that it flows like a slow-moving river, making every movement a struggle against a wall of invisible, heavy molecular weight. On Venus, you aren't just breathing air. You are submerged in a sea of carbon dioxide that is constantly trying to flatten your existence. There is no escape from this weight. It presses down on every square inch of your body with the force of 1,000 tons. Even the weather here is heavy. The slow movement of this thick air carries more kinetic energy than a Category 5 hurricane on Earth. This supercritical fluid doesn't just crush, it acts as a solvent, eating away at the very chemistry of anything that dares to land there. Without a pressurized titanium shield, a human would be flattened instantly, their bones turned to powder by the sheer weight of the sky. Every piece of equipment sent here must be a masterpiece of engineering, designed to withstand pressures that would destroy our most advanced submarines. The sky is not a window to space. It is a lid on a pressure cooker that has been sealed shut for billions of years. Light itself struggles to travel through this soup, bending and refracting in ways that would make your eyes deceive you at every turn. Imagine a world where the very air you breathe is your greatest enemy, a heavy, suffocating blanket that refuses to let you move or survive. Venus is a victim of a runaway greenhouse effect, a cycle of heat that has spiraled out of control and trapped the planet in fire. The sun's energy enters, but it can never leave. It is bounced back to the surface again and again, building up a lethal temperature. This heat has accumulated for eons, turning the entire planet into a permanent furnace, where the night offers no relief from the scorching day. The average temperature is 470 degrees Celsius. That is hot enough to melt lead and zinc in just a matter of seconds. And even the most resilient metals used in our daily lives would simply turn to puddles on the ground of this hellish, burning world. Venus is actually hotter than Mercury, even though it is twice as far from the sun, proving the terrifying power of its thick atmosphere. There is not a single drop of liquid water here. Every ocean that may have existed billions of years ago has long since boiled away. As the water vanished, the planet's ability to regulate its temperature died with it, leaving a dry, scorched husk that only knows heat. Volcanoes continue to scar the landscape, but their lava remains hot for much longer, kept liquid by the stifling, heat-trapping atmosphere above it. No biological life can withstand this. Even the most extreme microbes on Earth would be cooked instantly in this planetary scale. The landscape is a monotonous stretch of basalt and volcanic peaks, all shimmering under a sky that never turns blue and never cools down. It is a world of eternal fire, where the ground itself seems to breathe heat and the rocks are always on the verge of melting. For any visitor, the heat is a physical wall. It penetrates every shield, cooks every circuit, and destroys every dream of colonization. This is the ultimate fate of a world that lost its balance, a cautionary tale written in the language of fire and molten rock. In this furnace, time stands still, and the only constant is the blistering, unrelenting heat that defines every second of Venus's existence. Above the heat and pressure lies another layer of horror. The clouds of Venus are not made of water, but of pure poison. These clouds are composed of concentrated sulfuric acid, a corrosive substance that can dissolve flesh, bone, and even some metals on contact. It rains acid on Venus, but this rain is so bizarre that it never even reaches the burning ground below the thick cloud deck. Because the surface is so hot, yet the acid rain evaporates long before it touches the rocks, creating a toxic cycle known as virga. This creates an eternal cycle of chemical erosion, where the very air is an invisible, acidic, teeth-like force that gnaws at everything. The winds at the cloud tops are even more insane, moving at 360 kilometers per hour, much faster than the planet rotates. This super-rotation means the entire atmosphere is in a state of permanent, violent motion. A global hurricane that never stops its frantic pace. Lightning flickers through the acid mists, illuminating the nightmare in flashes of chemical fire that reveal the sheer scale of the atmospheric chaos. Any machine attempting to fly through these clouds would be sandblasted by acid and tossed by winds that could rip wings from their sockets. At the poles, massive double vortex storms churn like giant drains, pulling the toxic clouds into a dance of destruction that spans thousands of miles. The sky of Venus is a beautiful golden trap, a lethal mixture of corrosive chemistry and kinetic fury that guards its secrets with violence. Despite these horrors, humanity dared to land. The Soviet Venera missions were the first and only to touch the surface and send back news.
Secure.
Venera 13 was built like a deep-sea diving bell, a sphere of thick titanium and steel meant to survive the impossible for as long as
Proceed with the
possible.
crane, very slowly.
As it fell, the atmosphere became so thick that the probe didn't even need a parachute to land safely. The air acted like water. It landed in a world of orange light and crushing weight, immediately becoming a lonely witness to a landscape no human eyes could ever see. The images it sent back were haunting. A stark, desolate graveyard of sharp rocks under a sky that looked like a permanent sunset of sulfur. The clock was ticking from the first second. On the surface of Venus, even the toughest machines are on a desperate, short-lived suicide mission. The 470-degree heat began to soak through the insulation, cooking the internal computers and frying the delicate sensors that captured those precious images. 127 minutes. That is the world record for survival on the surface of Venus before the machine finally succumbed to the hell. When the signal went silent, it left behind a dead shell of metal, a monument to human curiosity abandoned in the center of a furnace. Over decades, that probe has been slowly eaten by the atmosphere, its titanium body dissolving and its history being erased by the planet's wrath. It is a graveyard of steel witnesses, scattered across the plains of a world that refuses to let anything foreign survive for more than 2 hours. On every piece of data we have from the surface was bought with the total destruction of the machines that went there to find it. Scientists still dream of returning with better shields and cooling systems, but the mountain they must climb is the most difficult in exploration. No human will ever walk these plains. No footprint will ever be left in this soil that wouldn't be incinerated before it could be made. These machines are our only ambassadors to the underworld, the brave steel souls that gave their lives to show us the face of hell. As we leave the fire behind, we look back at Venus not just as a failed twin, but as a mirror reflecting our own potential future. Venus shows us what happens when a planet's climate goes beyond the point of no return, when the balance of nature is permanently shattered. By studying the death of Venus, we learn the secrets of how to keep our own world alive, understanding the delicate strings that hold our climate. Our atmosphere is a gift, a thin layer of protection that keeps us from the same fate as our scorched and suffocating neighbor. The runaway greenhouse effect on Venus is a stark warning. It is a reminder that the chemistry of a sky can change everything in an instant. We do not explore these hostile worlds just to find a place to move to, but to appreciate the home we already have. Venus remains the morning star, a beautiful light that hides a terrible truth, a guardian of a lesson we must never forget. It is a destination of knowledge, not of habitation. A place where we look to see the extreme limits of what a planet can become. In the coldness of space, the life-giving warmth of Earth is a rare and precious miracle that we must defend with all our strength. The hell of Venus is a testament to the fragility of our existence and the urgent need to protect the balance of our own atmosphere. We do not explore the fires of Venus to find a new home, but to learn how to save the only one we have.